Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Council workshop meeting Tuesday, September 8th, 2020, 6 p.m. Heidrich.
Here.
Holtmeyer.
Here.
Obermark.
Here.
Patke. Pettit. Here. Scornia.
Here.
Sullentrup. Here. Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Will all the committee members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the meeting dated August 3rd, 2020? Heidrich.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Obermark.
Aye.
Pettit.
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Sullentrup. Wessels.
Aye.
Having read the minutes, are there any questions or comments? Any
Make a
corrections?
motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Heidrich, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated August 3rd, 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Report of department heads, 2021 budget discussion.
So we have within your packet, since we're going to have the hearing with the ordinance approving it at the September 21st, Mary's prepared to give you an idea again. The budget highlights really have not changed, but there are these documents that we'll have as a part of the budget. If you have any questions in the meantime with regards to anything specific, we'll be happy to answer your questions. If we can't answer it tonight, we can get it sometime between now and the 21st. But virtually nothing has changed since the last time we had a workshop that went ahead and covered it. Just to give you an idea on the, again, the highlights, I guess, or whatever, just the overview of it. We will have a wage increase of just 1%. That's just for the cost of living. We are going to take a look at a merit increase after the first of the year. We'll check and see how sales tax does the first quarter. And like I said, we'll reevaluate it at that time. One other thing that might not have been mentioned in there, but it's in the hands of wages, or at least along the lines of wages, is the fact that we put in for a market study. The last time we had our job descriptions looked at was in 2017, and there was a market study that was attached to that at that time. And it's good to go back every few years and go back and check the market and make sure that we're in line with the market rates. So we put in for a market rate update study to go ahead and as well be included in this. And we've already reached out to the other party that we used last time to see ballpark what we'd be looking at for a fee. We feel that we've got that covered with this budget. So that's another item that we budgeted for that's not mentioned in your highlights. They would probably, if we would allow them, I think they give us a proposed timeline where it would take about 3 to 4 months for that to go ahead and be completed. So again, that would be after the first of the year. So,
Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to send it on to council.
Second.
Okay, I think we were just having discussion, but we'll take that motion. And the second, motion by Holtmeyer, a second by Heidrich, to send that on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
again, the hearing will be on September the 21st, and we'll also have the ordinance to adopt it at that time. That'll be your last meeting before the start of our new budget year.
Okay.
Communications, New Haven, Missouri Dispatching Service Agreement.
Lisa?
Okay, in your packet tonight and for the council meeting tonight, you have the contract for the Maine Police Department for taking over their dispatching duties beginning October the 1st. This is a one-year contract that would begin October 1st and end September 30th of next year, at which time we'll
So Lisa brought this to our attention, I guess, probably almost a year ago, it seems like. So it's been a while in progress, or it's been a while for it to get work to this point at least, so. But we're finally here. Mark's reviewed this, and like I said, this is just for a one-year deal. As Lisa said, we can take a look at how many calls we actually place, do a trial period for a year. She feels comfortable that we can go ahead and handle their call volume, at least as of what we know.
Their call volume is about 1,200 calls, but they pull report numbers for a lot of things that our police department doesn't pull report numbers for. Like they'll pull a report number for like any kind of EMS assist. They also pull report numbers for any traffic stop. So, and we do not do that. We do not do that. So their call volume isn't anywhere near what we're experiencing. We were able to work out the radio stuff. They have a dedicated frequency on channel on our main computer, on our main radio at this time. So we'll be doing some radio testing over the next few weeks. Just to make sure everything's all good.
Have we done anything like this before, Lisa?
We have not. This is a new endeavor for us.
Okay, I was just wondering, if this is, like you said, a one-year trial, or? Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And we may, like I said, if we'll see how it works after a year, we may have others that want to do the same.
Yeah, this could open up a door for us. You never know.
All right, cool.
Any other questions you might have?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Lisa. We'll entertain a motion. Well, this was a discussion. No, we're going to send this one on, so.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Hydridge, to send this on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've sent it on. Thank you.
Emergency management, COVID-19 positivity rate information.
Before Mark gets up here, Mark had brought up with, we discussed this recently, and I think as he mentioned in his letter, it's kind of a follow-up as to what's really a test for us with regards to should we utilize our facilities, that being whether it be street festival, whether it be our park system, et cetera, for any large event. Right now, as we've told you in the past, we follow the CDC guidelines of approximately 250 people in attendance, or at least mass gatherings of that large. Sometimes we know that those numbers go up a little bit depending upon what the event is, but we wanted to reach out. Mark came up with a good idea. Unfortunately, the county kind of changed the numbers as of Friday, and so I think Mark's going to give you an update to that and let you know what he found.
Good evening, council members. Yeah, thought we had a proposal to run to you, but just as soon, change it to a discussion. Councilman Wessels brought up some sort of the idea of some sort of a yardstick. When do we, when we release some restrictions, when we make them tighter if necessary. So the positivity rate, the percentage, if you will, of those folks who are testing positive at that time seemed to be a good indicator. In the council packet,
Hey, Mark, test your mic real quick.
testing 1, 2,
Can't hear it?
testing 1, 2.
No.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
I would, you may want to see if it's plugged in the bottom. That's what I was going to say, see, because it got moved.
Immediate or plugged in. I'll try again.
There you go.
Okay.
Try it again.
My goodness.
Test, test, test.
Hello, KORN
Oh, boy.
News. Okay, there we
Good
go.
job.
No more technical difficulties.
Okay, so without going backwards too much, like I sent you in the packet, Illinois is using it. You may have seen on the news there's I believe 5 counties just east of St. Louis, that are having a high positivity rate. So they were closing, or they were restricting some business, et cetera, you know, to try to bring that positivity rate down. So it seemed like a sort of a good yardstick. The data we were getting up until Friday from Franklin County and the Health Department, I've had a conversation with my counterpart at Franklin County, Abe Cook, and the testing positivity rate that was being reported was actually since onset of COVID. So that was all the way back to when almost no one that was testing was testing positive. Whereas now, you know, obviously the rate of those folks who are testing positive is higher. So we talked about it a little bit, and Abe had already been talking with the health department about a measure that was more recent, you know, rather than just all that data that was out there. So starting Friday, Franklin County started reporting a 14-day testing positivity rate. So what Darren and I and the mayor were discussing, you know, I was proposing in that, what I sent you in a packet, a positivity rate of 7% based on the previous numbers we had. But it appears that, you know, this 14-day would be more accurate, and it would go up quicker, and on the positive side, it would go down quicker too, to where, you know, if we do use it as a yardstick to restrict some activities, and I'm talking specifically city facilities here, you know, not public facilities. We don't believe that the city would want to be party to something that could be tracked back to an event that occurred on city property. So, you know, using this positivity rate might be a very good yardstick to use, with the exception that now we only have 5 days worth of data. So, you know, I did print off a little graph, you know, a little hard to see because it's small, but we can pass it around, of the past 5 days data, and from the good side, that rate is going down. Friday was basically 9.9, and today it's down to 8.88.
When you say 7%, 7% of what, 1,000 people, or?
That was 7% of all people tested. Good question, because you know, some people have been saying, well, you know, the number of cases that are coming up daily is not a good measure because it could be due to more testing going on, that these numbers are higher. Well, this sort of answers that question. It doesn't matter whether 100 people are tested or 1,000, it's the percentage of those people tested
Over a 2-week period.
over a 2-week period, correct.
So it really kind of follows it a lot.
Much more
It's
accurate.
probably the best test I've seen yet that we've
Yeah.
got out there to go ahead.
And I think that's why other states, et cetera, and actually in the material I sent to you, it appears going back that that's what the U.S. Surgeon General was using to make recommendations on when schools could start reopening. Was sort of using that as well, you know, as additional data. So, and as I say, but I would have loved to have had a solid proposal, but I do not feel comfortable, nor does Darren feel comfortable with, you know, making a recommendation based on only 5 days worth of numbers. So I'd like to come back to you again, maybe in a few weeks or a month, after we've had time to look at this a little bit.
Does Franklin
Yeah.
County do it the same way?
As far as,
We get the numbers from Franklin County.
yeah, it's in the report that I send you every Friday. This is one of the pages, and this is, actually, it's data that Franklin County Health Department gives to Franklin County Emergency Management, and then Abe puts this together, and that's the reports we get from Franklin County.
Mark, that positivity rate just started being published though last week, correct?
The 14-day one?
Yes.
Yes, Friday was the first day.
And that's when they're starting it too, Friday?
They started at least releasing that data for everybody.
Not,
Well, and we use
The original one that we had was it was all Franklin County.
Yeah.
And like Mark said, it was since the very beginning.
Right, and so we're still using all Franklin County numbers, we're not using Washington numbers. We're
Correct.
using all
That
Franklin
isn't the
County.
proposal,
It's
yeah.
still
because
county.
We don't have enough data
Right.
for 63090.
Right. Yeah. So it's not specific to Washington, it's the county positivity rate.
So as an example of how we would move forward with this would be if, for example, here's just one, and something for you guys to think about between now and maybe the 21st, because we're just looking to make sure that we're all on the same page with regards to policy. If you would be in the red zone, if the county would be in the red zone, we would look at it every Monday and see if it was within the red zone, then those activities for that week, if they were in any one of our facilities, or if it was a festival, that was utilizing the street right away, et cetera, whatever downtown, that would be called off for that weekend, and then we reevaluate it again and see what the numbers came back on Monday.
To give a little time,
That way they have time to go ahead and make arrangements or do whatever they have to go ahead and do. We're not pulling the plug on something on a Thursday afternoon or something. So we figured Monday would be a good time to go ahead and do that.
Any questions or comments?
So Mark will get some updated information to you, and then what we will do is, we'd like to go ahead and we'll have a policy in place for you at your next meeting on the 21st. And again, as Mark said, I want to make sure this is very clear. This is just facilities that we rent, just our right-of-way, anything that we have a permitting process over, that's what we're talking about. The other organizations, if they choose to go ahead, obviously, with Knights of Columbus, the Elks, any of the larger ones, that have larger events, that's up to them still. This would not affect them. Only affects the events where either downtown or the chamber or some other entity wants to rent one of our facilities and hold an
probably
event.
something out the fairgrounds.
Right.
Those-
Obviously, it'll stop after CDC guidelines are dropped.
Yeah, it won't be permanent.
You'd have a time when either, I think that would be probably to be determined. I really don't know that any of us in this room can predict when that would end. Obviously, if we see the positivity rate number keep decreasing or whatever, then we'll know we're headed in the right direction.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
You.
Solid waste, all cleanup week.
Just to let everybody know, do you want to come on up? Come on up, Tony.
Good evening, council. For the fall cleanup week, it's also big trash pickup week. The flyers should be out. Just for that that pickup, the street department is going to have a trailer and a truck out, and we'll be picking up as much scrap metal as we can. We'll get the refrigerators or hot water heaters, anything we can salvage out for scrap metal value. And since I'm up here, you want to hear about the rest of the street department?
Hey, Tony, on this pickup thing, it looked like, if I'm not mistaken, we got from our new trash service, they're gonna do the next big pickup streets curbside, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then is it like a day before or day after we do the one out at the park, the electronic?
The electronics is usually the week before.
Okay, what surprised me was, it looks like they're picking up electronics at no cost.
They will.
Even though, like, if we go out there, if you take your stuff out there, a lot of those items, there's a cost.
Some of the older TVs, there is a cost. They can go in the landfill, but the idea is to keep them out. So if people are a little bit conscious about it and would rather pay the $10 or $15 for the TV, they can. And the same with the electronics. If we can keep it out of the landfill, that's the whole idea of it. If people are just too stubborn and don't want to mess with it, then just set it out there. On top of that, the street department sold 3 of our trash trucks and 1 of our old recycle trucks for $41,700 total. The newest trash truck we kept in our fleet. The second newest trash truck went to the water department. They're going to make a dump truck out of it. And the new recycle truck went over to the parks department. They're going to make a water truck out of it for their use. We have 500 tons of salt coming in later this week. We have asphalt repair projects going on. We've got to get wound up for parking lot sealing, we are mowing, we do got some concrete repair projects, and we've got some sod work over here on Lafayette to hope get on maybe this week or next, so. All right,
Did we just get a new trash truck a couple years ago?
did we consider new ones?
No, we just bought one about a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one we kept.
We kept that one? Okay.
And we kept the second newest one, and Kevin's gonna turn into a tandem dump truck.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Parks, change orders 3, 4, 5, and 6 for Westport Pool.
As Wayne comes up here, these are all the changes that we had discussed at previous meetings or whatever. This is just the formal approval of those, but he's got more detail, obviously, within the cover letter, so.
Good evening. Thank you. Yeah, I'll run through these briefly, and then I'll let Greg from Landmark expand on them a little bit. So change order number 3 is for removal of the rock shelf at the east end of the pool site. Like Darren said, several of these, or all of these, we've talked about in advance of this meeting. This was a rock shelf that no one anticipated and wasn't shown on any of our plans. Total cost was $25,310, and that was time and material only. Change order 4 is for pool hillside utility work in regards to moving the pump room or mechanical room to the new pool house. We had utility contractor on site doing other utilities, and it was decided now that it would be a good time to combine this with what they were already doing, so we wouldn't have to pay for them to come back out again. And so that price is $25,671. Change order 5 is for 2 fun umbrella sleeves. Total cost is $2,756. I'm hoping, I believe I talked about this possibly at the last meeting, to find sponsors for these umbrellas, just like we had at the old leisure pool with the Lions umbrellas. And then change order 6 is the removal of the pool mechanical room out of the existing building and into the new pool house. In order to do that, they had to stretch the new pool house, I believe 17 feet on each end. And total cost for that is $43,958. Any questions or anything that needs to be elaborated on?
When will they start pouring some of the pool bottom?
Pool bottom,
Craig,
probably later this week, probably, right?
Ryan? Ryan, if you don't mind, come to the mic so that Kevin.
Ryan from Westport Pools. Yeah, the 22nd, we're looking at pouring the first pour. We're working the rebar up from the bottom there, as you can see. So we'll kind of come up that break and then stop. So that's a good milestone. First
Yeah.
concrete, absolutely. Yeah.
That's
Looking
good.
Looking real good.
Anything else?
Yeah, I got a phone call from somebody that lives on High Street and wanted to commend your guys the way you're cleaning up the job site and sweeping the street and keeping it orderly. He really appreciated it.
Thank you.
Good job. Did we have any
You
questions?
have anything? Craig?
There's no other questions. I just wanted to add one, just sort of a little expansion onto what Wayne was talking about. On the change order number 4, which was the hillside utilities. So the whole hillside project, which John has been championing on behalf of the city to make the whole expansive area, more conducive to the pool and bring it all to a nice, clean, nice-looking project for the city. And so that's really just the first of what'll be 2 change orders. So that's to keep schedule. We wanted to keep the same utility contractor working. So that's why it was broken out to do the utilities early right now and keep rolling. So that's this change order 4. There'll be another subsequent change order which captures all of the rest of the hillside project. The Circle Drive and that whole, really why we call it the hillside, fixing the hillside where that rock is right now. So I just want to make sure that, to make that little little point. So that'll be coming to you as, down the road here in probably the next meeting. Does that make sense? John, does that make sense? Yes. Okay. That was it?
Does this count the riprap you're gonna put back on the hillside after the project's complete?
That's all part of the hillside project. To fix that hole, and there's been some maintenance, and John can talk some more about that.
Yeah, so if you recall at the last meeting, the engineering department was looking at adding a sidewalk on Fair Street and paving Fair Street. We're still working on getting our easements and things, get that sorted out. I was hoping to be under construction by now, but we're just running behind on that. Once we get that done, out to bid, that'll happen wintertime, paving right out of spring, hopefully. That brings essentially a new sidewalk over to the park. Is there a name for that park? Echo Camp Park, sorry, to the park right there. The hillside project incorporates a sidewalk then from Fair Street, or I'm sorry, Fair, and I think that, I don't know the east-west street there, but Fair over to the new pool, and then new sidewalks down the hillside. And then it also takes out the riprap, makes it green space, allows for a manageable slope for them, and then pours a retaining wall similar to what's in front of Borgia Church, you know, a textured retaining wall. And then it'll also have a seating component as well. So we're trying to just capture as many things as we can.
Is that sidewalk from Edith still coming over to through the park?
What's that?
The sidewalk coming from Edith to the park still?
Yeah, that's in it. Yes. Yep. Edith. Yep. There you go. So I keep saying Eleanor, but Edith. Yes. And then there'll also be a new sidewalk down Circle Drive. If you also notice, Circle Drive doesn't have any curb and gutter, so that'll all be curb and guttered as well. It's a maintenance issue for the Parks Department. So it's all out of the transportation fund. With the wall being essentially, part of the sidewalk. You can't get a sidewalk in without putting a retaining wall in. So that was kind of the idea.
Clean it up, looking nice.
Yeah, yes. The original pool budget just didn't have really any work on that hillside with the dollars we had budgeted. So this is a transportation project. Again, we talked about this. I mean, walking is the oldest form of transportation. So let's get these kids to this pool. I think that makes the most sense. So.
Okay. All right.
And that'll come at a subsequent date.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. And that is budgeted, by the way, in next year's budget. Goes into effect October 1st, and we do have some pricing, and we're doing pretty good on the budget on that. So, we're doing good.
And speaking of the budget, just because I think Mark had asked at one of our previous meetings with regards to these changes that we were talking about tonight, that was taken out of another capital improvement item, which is basically the parks maintenance shed and building remodel. So those funds were removed from that, moved to the pool to go ahead and compensate that. So Mary took care of that.
So if we find that money back again, will that come back into play?
Yeah, if we have some other money, we can sit there and look and see if we can, put more back into that project. I think the idea is, what's the goal of what we want to do with that maintenance shed? That's a whole nother item. I mean, we've talked about this for probably 20 years, I think, in my history of the city, where Parks has looked for some type of cover for some of their equipment so that they, it doesn't sit out there in the elements. But that could be taken care of too with a 2 or 3-sided building, just, open, to go ahead and get it out of the elements. So that's what was in your budget, but it had a much larger price tag before.
And we're with the overall capital improvement sales tax. I know I briefed you on the airport project. Takes a big chunk of money. I still don't have the dollar numbers that MoDOT's going to participate more in, because if you remember, it's a $1 million project. We would only have 450, or the feds would only participate, the FAA would only participate $450,000 to that. So that difference would have to come out of capital improvement sales tax, which was budgeted, okay? But we did receive some preliminary good news that MoDOT may essentially pony up the rest of the 90%, which once we get all that, I can definitely brief you on those numbers better, but it's sounding very positive to the overall capital improvement sales tax. There's a bigger pot of money to pull out of it, a future project. So just.
Plus sales, plus of a sale of another airport.
What's that?
Plus the sale of another airport, maybe.
Yeah, and I want to get all the details before I necessarily say where the money came from. I have that. I just haven't had a chance to package it together and present you all with that. So we're still trying to get that design contract done. So, or at least get it under design.
You want to have him go ahead and do any reporting while he's up here?
Sure.
Yeah, I can, real quick.
Yes,
Can we get a motion to send
Make a
this?
motion to
So
send
we
it
have a
on.
motion by Solentrub, seconded by Hydridge, to send the parks item, the pool item, onto the council. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? By your vote, you sent it on. Thank you.
Biggest thing, I guess, downtown-ish is the trail. I don't know if we want to hit on that, but street department, along with parks department, we've been working obviously pretty diligently on getting the trail done. Engineering department as well. It's paved. Everybody can see that it's paved. Some people think that it is open. It is not open. There are construction traffic intermittently throughout the day, pouring concrete, backfilling. There's skid steers down there backfilling all the edges and things. We are pushing really hard to try to get something done by the weekend. I don't want to overpromise here, but if weather holds out here, we might. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to. But so we're working on getting that done. The benches, I don't think will be in by the weekend because concrete still will be green. So there's going to be ongoing work here. I don't want anyone to think that once it's just like opened up and it's all green and flowers are growing and butterflies are flying. That's not the case. So, but we do have the asphalt in. So,
We'll have butterflies down there.
What's that?
We'll have butterflies down.
Yeah,
Well,
what's the date on the butterflies?
I'm just figure of speech, guys.
I got you.
So we're working on it. So anyway, we had a paving window. I know we said middle October. There was a window there with our asphalt contractors that basically we worked kind of around the clock really for basically 2 days to get it prepped and ready to go. Paving went very smooth. So I would just reiterate, it is not open. The trail is not open. Not open. So.
You said not.
Not open. Okay, so that's the trail. Other thing, so the kind of hitting on with Councilman Scornia's kudos to Ryan as far as contractors being clean around town and things like that. Thank you for the segue. We've been part of our MS4 Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System permit, DNR permit. We had an audit. Might be 3 years ago now, but an audit, we failed that audit. It was, we are one of only 2 MS4 communities in Franklin County. The other one being Union. Once you get over 10,000, a population of 10,000, DNR grants you a permit to release the water that's coming out of that storm into the river. So stormwater in the river, they permit you to do that. What that means is they have additional controls on you. Water quality being one, not just the amount of water, but the actual, what's it comprised of type thing. So we failed that audit. I've been working with DNR for 2 years now on improving our plan. One of that is construction site cleanliness, not having track out, not having mud. I've been preaching to the contracting community what they can do better of, X, Y, and Z. Sometimes they do good, sometimes they don't do so good. Seems like they're getting a little lax here again on it. So we are going to, the engineering department is looking into, we just got all the permitting software up and running, but we're going to implement maybe a new inspection, no cost inspection, hopefully in the next month, that essentially when you apply for a building permit, you will be required to have your silt fence, all your stormwater pollution controls up prior to us issuing the building permit. So you apply, hey guys, can I do this? Yeah, you can do that, looks good. Call to get an inspection done, you better have your silt fence up or you're not gonna get your building permit. Reason for this is that we've seen that some do good, which the kudos here, some don't do so good, and that's just not acceptable, and it really puts us in a reactive situation to where I don't want to go into some controls like St. Louis County and other people have had to do in some of these other communities. So we have to step up our game here. DNR is not messing around with these things. I'm on the phone with them once every 2 or 3 weeks to just give them an update on what we're doing to do better. And quite honestly, the last couple of rain events, it's been pretty sad at what people have had to drive through and kind of what's been released from these construction sites. So anyway, like I said, no cost, we'll move quick. It's just a little checklist. If you are doing what you should be doing, get your building permit. If you're not doing what you should be doing, then maybe you need to take a little more time and put some more silt fence in the ground or straw wattles or those type of things. It's really no different than if we show up on a job site to do a footing foundation inspection, and there's mud strewn everywhere. Quite honestly, I think then maybe you should take some more time to clean the street up with a broom rather than pour concrete that day. So we will say, no inspection for you today, call us again tomorrow. So that's a pretty big step. Hate to do it, but that's all I have.
Any questions of John?
I'll briefly give you a little update on some things that we've been working on in the Parks Department. Along with the trail, like John said, the trail is closed, despite the skateboarder that almost hit my truck today while I was down there. And we did a posting on Facebook again today about it. And as John said, the goal, as long as weather cooperates, is to have it open for the weekend. So that's what we're shooting for. Also, I have a contractor over at Disc Golf trying to get about 3 different projects kind of completed with the end of this fiscal year. So Disc Golf, Main Park Playground, get that thing open, and this trail open. So Disc Golf, contractors open over there working. We had most of the fairways cut last winter after the grand opening. And then with the weather we had, we never got much frozen ground. We couldn't get over there last winter. And we need to get this thing off our books. So I was over there Friday. Contractor's doing a lot of good work, and we should have the back 9 open by the end of this month. So that'll be good. And then trail, and then Main Park, we have one more piece of curbing to pour this week. And then compact all the 3 different pods or 3 different areas, and then we can call the playground contractor to come in and pour the rubber, and then we can just do some small grading and get it open to the public. And then finally, I'll be conducting later this week, hopefully later this week, a couple phone interviews for 2 park maintenance labor 1 positions we have open. And so we'll do first round phone interviews, and then second round with Shauna. So, any questions on anything?
Any questions or comments?
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Is there anyone else who would like to report to council?
Come on.
Nelson, come on up.
Good evening, council. Just wanted to give you just a quick update on a new checkout we have at the library. We did receive a 2-year grant from the state of Missouri using CARES grants money. And with that grant, we've managed to get 12 hotspots for the community. And so each hotspot will work on a cellular signal from T-Mobile, and families can check out these hotspots for 2 weeks at a time, or individuals, and they can get internet signals directly into their home or on the road. Our target was hopefully to help during the COVID days with all the families that need dependable internet access that maybe don't have it or their internet goes out. And within the first 48 hours, all 12 of them were checked out, and we did have a couple nice Facebook comments from people that their internet had gone out at home, and in order for their kids to do their Zoom classrooms and their online work, they had gotten the hotspots from the library to take care of that. So anyway, we're pretty pleased with them at this point.
Okay. Any other questions of Nelson?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Anyone else? Kevin?
Good evening, everybody. Just want to let everybody know we've been having a rash of water main breaks on Terry Lane on the east end of town. We are in the process of replacing that line with a new 6-inch line. We had 4 of them in the last 2 months, so we'll be getting that one done. Maybe help out the residents there too. We'll add a fire hydrant for fire protection where there's not one. On the water side, wastewater side, doing good. We had some odors down at the treatment plant. They were kind of self-inflicted. We were trying to adjust the wet well level a little bit. Didn't work out, so we adjusted it back down, and we should be back down to less odor. But other than that, we're gearing up to do a big slip lining project over on the west end of town, a bunch of 6-inch lines. So moving right along, we trying to get the project on Highway 100 going to Meadow Lake going. State kind of held us up a little bit on their permits, so we've got that now. We've got some other things to do, but we'll be moving along on that too, so. Anybody got any questions?
Any questions?
Did you ever find the pipe underneath the highway?
There is no pipe underneath the highway.
No such thing.
There will be a pipe underneath the highway, but there's not one there right now.
Are you boring that, Kevin?
Pardon me?
Are they boring that?
Yes, we're gonna bore it. I had to shift gears a little bit. We anticipated a smaller pipe size for the casing. We was anticipated a 16-inch, while the state's requirement is requiring a 20-inch. So it takes a whole different boring rig and equipment, so I have to shift my gears and find a new boring company for that. So that's what we're working on, what I'm working on right now, so.
If I find that pipe, can I have the 50,000?
I don't know, you ask Darren.
Sure.
I guarantee you, we have looked a whole lot there for it, yeah, so, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? I think we've heard from everyone. Okay, so a vote to go into executive session?
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss.
Wait, stop.
We'll get
I just
adjourned.
had something to add, or what are you going, Steve?
No, I was going to adjourn.
No.
Go ahead.
Good?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to let everybody know that, let my constituents know and anybody in the city and all of you that for the next 3 months, due to my work schedule, I will not be able to be at 7 o'clock meetings. So it's going to be kind of touch and go for the next 3 months. So there's nothing I can do about it. It's just my work schedule and things we
Okay.
got to do in the trade. So I just want to let all you guys know.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mark.
So email, phone call, I'll return them ASAP. So
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Mary.
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, or real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Heidrich?
Here.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Atke?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Philanthrop?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.